Brian Shaw, welcome to South Africa. But first of all, what brings you to South Africa?
Thank you. I'm here for the Basketball Without Borders Africa camp, and it's my first time here, and I'm really enjoying it.
Okay, give us an impression, your first impressions of South Africa when you get off the plane.
Well, for me, this is my first time, and it's, I only know Africa from what we see on television in the United States. And normally what they show is, the jungle and all the animals out on the safari and things of that nature. So for me, coming here and seeing how beautiful South Africa is and how modernized it is, has been the biggest surprise, I guess, for me.
Okay, now let's talk about the BWB camp. What is your opinion of the talent that you're currently working with at that camp?
Well, I was pleasantly surprised by some of the talent that's there. We're working, the players that are participating are between the age, I believe, of 15 and 17 years old. And, obviously a lot of length in terms of the players, a lot of athletic ability, a lot of raw talent. And I think that the encouraging thing for me is the players that we're playing against. I can see that there's a lot of room for development if these players get the type of coaching that they need. And we're starting to see an influx, a lot of players coming over and playing college basketball, being drafted into the NBA. And so it's nice to be able to work with them at this level and this age to just try to instill some of the fundamentals of the game that they're going to need if they want to go to the next level.
Okay, so in other words, you haven't spotted anybody ready to play for the Denver Nuggets in that camp?
Not at 15 and 17 years old, but there are a couple of guys that look like they have some promise, and for me, I'm learning just as much from them as I would imagine that they're learning from me.
Okay, so how would you compare the BWB camp in Africa to a typical camp in the United States?
It's a little more rushed because we only have a limited amount of time. And some of the, they do a great job in terms of having interpreters. A lot of the players speak or understand English for the most part, but we have a condensed amount of time to try to impart a lot of information to these players. But in terms of the camps and the skill stations that we put the players through, they're typical of what we do with the players there, in the United States. I think the players in the States have just had an opportunity to play the game from a much younger age, so their skills are a little bit more refined.
Okay. Now, Brian, you've worked with the likes of Phil Jackson. You've coached with the Pacers, and of course now you're with the Denver Nuggets. And of course you have played with Shaq and Kobe. Now, what's most important in winning a championship? Would you say is a good coach or great players? And if you had to choose one, which would it be?
If I had to choose one, I would say, for me, playing with a great player. I think when you're out there on the floor with a great player, they make you feel better than you even are yourself. For me personally, I was a role player on our Lakers teams, and when I walked on the floor with Shaq and with Kobe, I felt invincible. I felt like we had these two guys that no matter what, they'd be able to bail us out of any situation that we got ourselves into.
Okay, so how much blame should a coach take for a bad season?
Well, we understand as coaches, and especially since I'm a coach now, understand that win or lose, whatever happens to blame, if it's not a good season or it's not a good year, it's going to come down on the coach. That's the nature of the business. I think one of the important things in trying to build a championship team, caliber team, is a coach being able to make the players buy in to the defensive schemes that he wants to employ out there on the floor, making everybody play together as a unit, and understanding that every day when you come in during that time, we need your undivided attention and energy focused on on the task at hand. You got to leave all your individual agendas and everything, your personal things, off the court and come together during those 2 or 3 hours every day that you're practicing.
Okay, so a coach should take the blame for a bad season.
Yeah, that's what happens. It comes down. There's only one team that can win a championship.
Right.
In out of 30 teams in the league.
Okay.
So 29 teams at the end of the season are unhappy, and there's going to be one team that's happy.
Okay, you realize that was a setup question.
It's all good. It's all good.
So what kind of a season do we expect for the Denver Nuggets coming up?
Well, we expect a better season. You know, last season was tough because we had a lot of injuries. We had a lot of young players, and hopefully this year we'll have a healthy group that's going to come back, and I'll have a full complement of players to go to battle with from the beginning of training camp.
Okay, and I'm sure you've heard the news. We are finally going to have an NBA exhibition game in Africa next year. How special will that be? It's
very, very special, and you know, we were all kind of pleasantly surprised yesterday when we got the news from the deputy commissioner, Mark Tatum. I think it's great for the continent of Africa. I think it's great for the NBA and everybody involved to bring an NBA game here for the young people here and the basketball fans here in Africa to see the level of intensity, the level of athleticism and skill and talent that the NBA players play with. And it's a different game watching it on television and seeing it live. And so for those that are able to come to the game next August, I think they're going to be in for a treat.
Okay, well, speaking of talent, I can't let you go without you answering this question for our viewers across Africa. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, you know what's coming, Kobe Bryant. Could you rank those players 1, 2, and 3, and why?
Okay, no problem for me. Michael Jordan, number 1. Kobe Bryant, number 2. And LeBron James, number 3.
Can you tell us why?
I played against Michael Jordan and Kobe, and as well as Coach Kobe. Simple, Michael Jordan went to the championship. He won 6 championships in 6 appearances in the finals. Had the will his team to get it done no matter what. Kobe Bryant is not very far behind Michael Jordan. He has 5 championships to show for his years in the league as well.
3 of them were with Shaq.
True. But you know,
So technically, he has just 2.
Well, Michael Jordan played with Scottie Pippen, who was a Hall of Famer as well.
Yeah.
And so, you know, regardless of who you play with, just individually as a player, and those 3 guys, if I had to rank them, and LeBron is still. He's still painting himself, so to speak. You know, he's still he's at his prime right now. So when it's all said and done, he may surpass all of them. But from my personal experience of playing against or playing with, coaching those guys, that's the order that I would rank them.
Okay. So if these guys were to play one-on-one and their athleticism would be on display and their shooting ability, would you still rank them in that order?
I still would rank them in the exact same way. I think Michael physically was a little stronger than Kobe, had bigger hands, which gave him an advantage. Kobe's killer instinct is what just drops him a little bit behind Jordan to me, but ahead of LeBron. I think that LeBron, and I don't want it to be taken the wrong way, I think he's a great player. But when it comes to just sheer will and that killer instinct, Kobe may even be above Michael when it comes to that killer instinct.
Brian Shaw, thank you for your insight and analysis. It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Pleasure's all mine.
All right, cool.